Hello, people. How you all been quite recently? I have been doing okay. Recently, today, I've been thinking about how to make my next Lewis vlog. I had an idea about talking about my comedic acting, but I'll see maybe on Thursday when I'm off next. I'll see what I could think about filming and creating. But you're not here to talk about Lewis vlogs. We're talking about Pixar movies, which will be my tier list today. I'm only going to go through the ones I have actually seen. The thing is, one, I like Pixar more than Disney. Two, I haven't seen all Pixar films. The only ones I haven't seen are Brave, The Good Dinosaur, Coco, and Luca. But I've seen all the rest, I have. And three, I thought I'd make a bit of a smaller tier list video and something different because of the last four tier list videos I've made were all about Total Drama because it's my favourite franchise. So, we're going to start off talking about Toy Story. I like Toy Story, I do. I like the plot. Yeah, despite the animation's a bit dated as of these days, it's an enjoyable film. I've seen it lots of times in my childhood on VHS or video, on the video machine, if you don't know what I meant by VHS, but most of you do. Who's my favourite character from Toy Story, the film? If I had to pick a favourite character, it'll have to be Woody and Buzz, is because they're like the most important characters of Toy Story than any other character. Do I consider it my favourite film? I never really considered Toy Story 1 to be my favourite film, but I do like it. So I'm going to put it not my favourite, but here I just really like the film, I do. The next film we're talking about is A Bug's Life. I like Bug's Life. I'm not like a Bug's Life lover. I've seen it a few times I have in my childhood. I would prefer Toy Story more than A Bug's Life, but I do like the film in general, but I wouldn't consider it one of my favourite films in my whole life. Who's my favourite character from A Bug's Life? I actually have two. I have Flick, who is the main character, is the blue bug, the blue Ant-Man, sorry, and Rosie the spider. I originally think about having Rosie on my creator show, my Toy Family, a few years ago, but because I couldn't find a plush of her, a toy of her, it never really come to plan. I originally thought about having Rosie as like a therapist for Ben the Drunken Dog, but things never really worked out. So that's the reason why she was never featured in my original creators show. So I'm going to put Bug's Life in like an alright section. I mean, it's not a bad film, but I wouldn't call it one of my favourites. And I would prefer Toy Story more than A Bug's Life. Toy Story 2, what do I think of it? It's a really good film with Jessie, Bullseye, Stinky Pete, Al, Wheezy, which is the penguin. I do remember the characters' names. Do I prefer Toy Story 2 more than Toy Story 1? I think I've always seemed to consider myself Toy Story 2 more of like a better film. There's nothing wrong with the first film, but I enjoy Toy Story 2 more, probably. I don't consider it my favourite Pixar film, but it's a really good film. It's got 100% Rotten Tomatoes rating. Who's my favourite character in Toy Story 2? Um, I like Woody because it's more about him in the second film, along with Jessie, than Buzz, where in the first film it's more about Buzz because Woody felt a bit rejected and redundant by Andy, which was his original owner. So, if I had to pick a favourite character from Toy Story 2 as a separate movie, it has to be Woody because he went from being a jealous, secretive, and a lying person to someone that seems to care about others and not. He becomes less selfish Woody does. Yeah. I don't consider it my favourite film, but I like it more than the first Toy Story film. Monsters Inc. we have now. I really like Monsters Inc. I do. When I was younger, you know, one of those card things. They swipe on the machine where they get the doors, right? And when I was younger, I used to be imaginative and actually try to do the same thing and use like a card, Monsters Inc. card, swipe and try to get into like the doors where they can get the energy for Monster Incorporated. I remember the Monsters Inc. website from many years ago, but I don't think it's on there anymore. I'm talking about before 2010. I like Monsters Inc. I like it more than the Toy Story films, and especially A Bug's Life. Who's my favourite character from Monsters Inc.? I like a lot of the characters from Monsters Inc., but if I had to pick a favourite, it's... I like Randall, I like Mr. Waternoose, I like Roz, I like... Well, I don't mind Boo, but I didn't consider her as my favourite, but she's better than probably that kid from Ice Age, probably. If I have to pick favourite characters, it definitely has to be Sully and Mike, because Sully and Mike are not even, you know, they're more than one-dimensional, where Sully is a really caring and a selfless person, and Mike is more of like the one that seems to be very jealous about himself, where Randall's a show off and he feels like he thinks that Boo is a better friend to Sully than him. I like Monsters Inc. I didn't consider it as my favourite film, but well, yeah, I watched it many times when I was a kid, and I really enjoyed Monsters Inc., so I'm going to place it here. I like it more than Toy Story 1 and 2, but I like those films as well. It's just Monsters Inc. I enjoyed a bit more. Finding Nemo we have now. I like Finding Nemo, I do, with Marlin and Dory and Bruce and Jill and Mr. Ray, you know, just to name a few characters. I really enjoyed Finding Nemo as a kid. I've seen it on DVD many times. Yes, I've seen the bonus features on Dish 2, where you can like watch the documentary of sea creatures. You can learn about the real fishes who are being created by the cartoon characters. You can actually see like Blow, which is the pufferfish. You can hear his descriptive information based on real pufferfish and clownfish, and just to name a few. What do I think of Finding Nemo as like? Do I consider it my favourite Pixar film? I didn't consider it as my favourite Pixar film, but I really enjoyed Finding Nemo. Do I do I like Finding Nemo more than Toy Story 1 and 2? Well, that's the thing, you see. I like these films, but I don't love them. I would place it in between Monsters Inc. and Toy Story 2. I really like Finding Nemo, but I didn't consider it as one of my favourite Pixar films. The Incredibles we have now. I like The Incredibles. I've seen it many times. Who's my favourite character from The Incredibles? Well, the thing is, I didn't really have a favourite character from The Incredibles. I do remember I played like a demo version of the PC game of The Incredibles, where you play as Mr. Incredible and you get to walk around on the island, where in the film he actually got to the island and nearly got crushed by that robot thing, whatever it was. I can't remember. It was owned by Syndrome, which was the villain, until he got killed in the jet because his cake got caught. Syndrome, eh? Oh, here's another fact about me and The Incredibles. When I was younger, when it's Edna, which is Edna Mode, that, you know, is it a girl or a boy? I mean, yeah, I think it's a girl, definitely, a lady, but she talks in a very manly voice, I have to agree. When she say no capes, Or I always thought she used to say nuggets. I think it's because it's the accent, I think. No capes, nuggets. I always thought she said nuggets. It reminded me of chicken nuggets from McDonald's. Talking about McDonald's, I remember owning some of Pixar McDonald's Happy Meal toys. They used to do a long time ago. They don't do them anymore, but I remember owning like a Talking Dory Happy Meal toy. And I had a Woody and that microphone guy thing, a toy of it. Maybe I should do a separate video based on all the Happy Meal toys I had. I'll do that on a separate video. Back to The Incredibles. I didn't consider it one of my favourite Pixar films, but I do like The Incredibles in general, so I'm going to place it here because this era is like, the films I like. The top section is like my favourite films, and this section is more of like, it's alright, but, I won't watch it very often, or I haven't seen it very often. Pixar Cars. The thing is with Pixar Cars, a lot of people don't like it, some people like it. What do I think of Pixar Cars, the first film? I really like Pixar Cars. I have lots of memories with it. I played the PlayStation 2 game. I have all the die-cast cars. I have the Radiator Springs 500 track. Kachikis is my favourite character from Pixar Cars. I really enjoyed the film. The only scene I wasn't keen on when I was younger is when Frank appeared, which Frank was a combine harvester, and he nearly got lightning and Mater because they were tractor tipping. Maybe because Frank, I don't know, maybe he was a bit scary when I was a kid, but I wasn't horrified or anything. Alright, because all the memories I have with Pixar Cars, and I love the song Behind the Clouds. If you don't know, I'll share you the link of what I meant by the song from Pixar Cars Behind the Clouds. And I do consider this film one of my favourites because I had childhood memories with it. I got Christmas presents, and I've seen Cars 1, 2 and 3. And I know some people don't really like it because I've seen previous videos and people discussing the problems. But I like Cars. It's just a good film it is with Lightning McQueen and Sally and Doc Hudson and Mater and Sheriff. They made so much merchandise and made die-casts of probably every single character in the whole franchise apart from Harv, which is the speaker that Lightning talks to while he's in the trailer with Mac. So yeah, I like Pixar Cars. Opinions will be opinions. Ratatouille. Now this is one of my favourite films. I remember one school morning when I'm trying to remember the villain's name. The head chef. We'll just call him the head chef because I honestly can't remember. The head chef was chasing Remy because he took the note or letter, and the only, one school morning I was watching the scene where he just fell off from the top of the main street to the steps, and he just fell off his bike, and I really find it very funny. I think it's just the music, and it's just the way how he reacted, rather than going, "Ah!" He just went, "Whoa!" Oof, oof. He just kind of reacted like if it was on a roller coaster that he wasn't really too afraid after all. I like Ratatouille. It's one of my favourite films. I actually do like it a bit more than Pixar Cars. I got a Remy plush I have. I don't have much Ratatouille merchandises. So yeah, Ratatouille. I mean, I would recommend the watch. I played one of the DS games. I've seen it many times. I've seen it at my grandma's house many times. Sorry, I'm getting a bit distracted because of the noises from outside. I'm going to shut the windows. So I apologise, everyone. I'm just going to shut the windows and I'm going to So I'll come back to you just for a minute. Sorry about this. There, that's better. I just really liked Ratatouille as a kid. I even got the book of Ratatouille under my bed, where it's the storybook of the film. I think from what I can remember, the only way to get it is you call the number, and if you order it, you get it. I wonder if that book is rare, I wonder, when I got the DVD. I don't know. Wally. Now, the thing is with Wally, it's my favourite Pixar film of all time because let's just say it has the most important memories with me as a child. I had a dream once where Wally and Eve were hiding in a really high room where the ceiling was really tall. It was like a dark aqua, a bit of a dark room. And Mo, who's the cleaner in Wally, that follows Wally around and clean up his caterpillar tires, is it called? His wheels. And it was his birthday, and Wally and Eve shout out surprise, and they blow party tooters, and I was there. And before my dream ended, I heard like a SpongeBob episode in the background when I seen Patrick Star appear. Not only that, because I had a memorable dream I remember from maybe 12 years ago, as of this year. I seen the cinemas to see Wally. I got the merchandise. I got the Wally truck. I got plushies. I got the PlayStation 2 and the Nintendo Wii game and Nintendo DS. Eve is my favourite character from Wally. I like Wally as well, but Eve is a special character I love from Wally because I think I had a crush on Eve when I was younger. I just really like her. I think it's because she's like a character, a female that can stand out on her own, and she can share some support to anyone, whether it's Wally or the captain or whoever else. I have so much memories of Wally that I even made a presentation in Loughborough College once about the film review of Wally. I talked about the plot and my memories with it and the release dates. If you want to find out about the Wally presentation, I'll send you the link as well about that. And I've actually uploaded on my YouTube channel months ago. It's got Stormrock Boy 13 in it as well because he asked me if he was there. I think, yeah, it was definitely one of the staff members that recorded me. That was while I was presenting my Wally presentation on Microsoft PowerPoint. So yeah, Wally is without a doubt my favourite Pixar film because of all the memories. I just love it. I wonder if we'll ever get a sequel. I wonder. I don't think it'll ever happen. But who knows? Maybe. Up we have now. I like Pixar's Up. I like Carl and Russell, Kevin, Doug, the villain. Who's the villain's name? Childs Muntz, is that his name? Ellie, which unfortunately when they got older and got married, Ellie died, I think from some illness. Maybe it was cancer, I'm guessing. I'm not really sure. I like Pixar's Up. It's not my number one favourite film, but I do enjoy I enjoy Pixar's Up. Where will I place it? I'll probably place it. I'll probably place it in between Finding Nemo and Toy Story 2. A film I really like, but I don't consider it one of my favourites. I just like Pixar's Up in general. Toy Story 3 we have now is the next film. I like Toy Story 3. And yes, who's your favourite character? It has to be Lotso, because Lotso is like one of the most popular characters of Toy Story, where He's the villain, and yes, I have to say, one of the most important scenes in any Toy Story film is the incinerator scene where they actually almost died, and I thought they were going to die too when I originally saw Toy Story 3 in the cinema years ago in 2010. The aliens rescued them, and Lotso didn't exactly get the brutal punishment he deserved. He just kind of just got himself caught up, and then he just got driven away by some dumpster truck men. So, yeah. Do I like Toy Story 3 more than Toy Story 1 and 2? I like how Woody has certainly seemed to try and make different changes for himself. But then the characters realise that Sunnyside Daycare is in ruins because of Lotso. Woody went back for them, and they managed to get to his new owner's house, Bonnie, and they all live with Bonnie up until Toy Story 4. Well, Woody, of course, only. But I'll get to Toy Story 4 in a minute. So, do I like Toy Story 3 more than Toy Story 1 and 2? Again, I like the Toy Story franchise, but I don't. It's not like I'm obsessed with Toy Story. I never really have so. I do have Toy Story Racer and a talking Woody and Buzz years ago when I was a kid. I even got a PC game, Toy Story 2 Maker, where you can make calendars or door hangers or pictures. So, um, yeah, I'm gonna place it with the rest of the Toy Story franchise. I think they're all just equally as good. I just struggle to have a favourite though. Cars 2 we have now. A lot of people say that it's one of the worst Pixar films that's been made. I actually did like Cars 2. I didn't like it as much as Cars 1. But I like Cars 2. Holly Shifwell is my favourite character from Cars 2. Um, Let me think. If I had to place Cars 2 somewhere, I like the film, but not as much as like Monsters Inc. or Pixar's Up or The Incredibles. So I'm going to place it here. I like Cars 2. I mean, don't criticise me. That's just my personal opinion. I know critics and people say that Cars 2 is the worst one because of Mater's screen time. Mater's not my favourite character, but I do like him. I find him a better character than, let's say, the Minions or the Boss Baby or what other characters? I'm not sure. There's so many. Or maybe some previous Total Drama characters I wasn't keen on, like Noah um, or Amy. Sorry if I'm having these pauses. On to the next film now, and I know Brave in chronologically order is all the films in the correct order, but I haven't seen Brave. Monsters University. I like Monsters University, I do. I seen it when I was 4. I seen Monsters University on my 14th birthday. I have some of the plushes. I got a Miss Hardscrabble plush. I used it many times in MTF. I got a George Summerson, is that his name? It's the guy that when it said 29-3, 29-3 in the original Monsters Inc. film, and he got himself shaded off and got the sock off. Poor guy. Do I like Monsters University more than Monsters Inc.? I actually do, actually. I didn't consider it as one of my favourite Pixar films, but I really enjoyed Monsters University. It's a prequel to Monsters Inc. You got Usma Macappa, which were Mike and Sully with Art, which is the purple monster, and I honestly can't remember the other classmates they were sleeping with. They got expelled in Monsters University because they went to the human world, and they managed to get out by scaring the humans. and they get out of the wooden door. And by the time they were at university, they were going to go on their separate ways. Mike found a news leaflet about a help wanted job at Monsters Incorporated, and that's how, well, in chronological order, Monsters Inc. became the sequel to Monsters University, because we know where the two of them has been after Monsters University. It's really interesting to talk about characters you know for more than 10 years, and then a sequel or prequel comes along, and you'll know what happens next with them, rather than probably like previous films like Open Season or what other friend like Ice Age. You know, the continuity is not as strong as Toy Story or Monsters Inc. or Cars does have a strong continuity, but Finn McMissile and Holly Shifwell wasn't even mentioned or had any cameos in Cars 3. Chickets and the King and some of the characters that didn't appear in Cars 2 returned in Cars 3. You know, and we got even the Doc Hudson flashback, but with new footage and actually original dialogue, because Paul Newman, who voiced Doc, died in 2008. They previously recorded Paul from the original Cars and that wasn't used, and it was all used in Cars 3. Doc Hudson is especially one of the most important characters of Pixar Cars. Yeah, so rather than getting a new voice actor for Doc, they wanted to respect the character a lot and actually not like in The Lion King where Mufasa dies on screen. Like in a lot of Disney films, they actually show deaths on screen, where with Pixar, it's rarely there unless you want to count up, because we don't see Ellie dying, but we know what happened to her when the funeral came on. So, yeah. I do like Pixar because Disney's is always about musicals, and I'm never a fan of musicals. So that's the reason why I'm a Pixar fan, because I've seen lots of Pixar films. Inside Out we have now. I like Inside Out, I do. Who's my favourite character? That's a really tricky one. I like happy, disgust, anger, sadness, fear. I like Riley, but I didn't consider Riley as my favourite character. I like sadness because she looks cuddly, and anger because he's like a proper bloke. Happy is the one that she's like a teacher or a headmistress where she's very professional all the time. The Scott is more of like more very sassy but not over the top sassy. And Fear is well, is obviously just a less coward version of Courage the Cowardly Dog from Cartoon Network. So if I had to pick a favourite character from Inside Out, it'll probably have to be Happy and Sadness because I like them two more. I like Bing Bong as well, the guy that is a part of Riley's childhood, but sadly he fades out because he couldn't go back up to the main area with Sadness, where Happy tries to get to from the trailer, something like that. If you haven't seen Inside Out, I recommend it. I don't consider it one of my favourite films, but I did enjoy Inside Out. So I'm going to place it here. I like Inside Out, I do in general. We might get a sequel, or even, well, there's no way they can make a prequel. That would be too weird and bizarre. So who knows what Pixar might make next? Most of it's going to be original films. Finding Dory we have now. What do I think of Finding Dory? It's a good film. I didn't enjoy Finding Dory as much as Finding Nemo. Who's my favourite character from Finding Dory? I like Marlin and Dory and Nemo. I didn't mind Hank, but I think he was just too stubborn for my taste. I think he was just too, he was very impatient, which is definitely one of his characteristics. And oh, Becky, that's another character. I didn't mind her. I like the seals. The tank gang, they call it, where it's Jill and Peach and Bubbles and Jacques, is that his name? The guy that cleans Nemo in the first film. Who's that purple yellowish fish? I honestly can't remember. I apologise, Finding Nemo fans. I'm trying to remember. So I like Finding Dory, but I prefer Finding Nemo more. Maybe because I think maybe because it could be childhood reasons. I like Finding Dory though. It's a good film. It's just not one of my favourites. Cars 3 we have now. What do I think about Cars 3? I seen it on Disney Plus a few months ago. I didn't go in the cinema to see Cars 3. I seen Cars 2 at the cinemas. I like Cars 3, I do. What do I think of it? It's a really difficult one. Who's my favourite character from Cars 3? If it has to be a new character, it has to be Cruz Razim. I like Cruz, I do. Cruz reminds me of Microsoft Zero from Dave Messenger's videos, maybe because it's the colour yellow, where Zero, Zero, Microsoft Zero, yeah, Zero, I'm sorry, I'm trying to pronounce it right. That her skin reminds me of Cruz from Cars 3. Yeah. I think she is definitely one of Lightning McQueen's best friends, like with Mater and Sally. Lightning McQueen's a lucky guy. He gets to run away to Radiator Springs in the first film, then he goes around the world, and then he's not exactly retired, but he has like a younger person to, to truly train, just like Doc Hudson did with Lightning. Do I, the first film's my favourite film, but do I like Cars 3 more than Cars 2? Well, to make it easier, I didn't consider Cars 3 as one of my favourite films, but I did enjoy it. So I'm going to place it here. Maybe I did enjoy Cars 3 a bit more than Cars 2. I'm not really sure. The Incredibles 2 we have. I like The Incredibles 2. It's interesting. We get a few new characters. They're not as memorable as Syndrome and Mirage. Is that the name? That she's Mr. Incredible's assistant. I honestly can't remember the villain's name. I'm sorry. They get forgettable if you don't see Incredibles 2 too often. I didn't enjoy The Incredibles 2 as much as the original film, but I do like The Incredibles 2. So I placed it here. Maybe because the original film, maybe it could be funnier, maybe. Where The Incredibles 2, it definitely seems to feel different, but it's good. Nothing's perfect. Toy Story 4. I seen this at the few cinemas about 2 years ago. Bo Peep is the main character along with Woody. I like Toy Story 4, but is it my favourite Toy Story film? I really want to like Toy Story 4, but when I seen it afterwards, I like Gabby Gabby, Gabby Gabby's my favourite character from Toy Story 4. Where she's nothing like Lotso. She's not jealous like Stinky Pete, and she doesn't act like a baddie really, like Sid in the first film. She's very clever and intelligent, but she feels lonely for herself, and that's the reason why she's got her free puppet assistant. And she made a new friend, Forky. I like Forky as well, a very friendly character, but Gabby Gabby's my favourite because I think we never had maybe like a bad guy to good guy character before. So, out of the Toy Story films, which one's my true favourite? I don't consider Toy Story 4 to be my favourite Pixar film, but if I want to watch any Toy Story film, I like to see the fourth one more because it's quite a recent film. And at least it didn't have any scene like the incinerator scene in Toy Story 3. I mean, at least there's nothing like that in Toy Story 4. And Gabby Gabby is even one of my favourite Toy Story characters, along with Woody and Buzz and Lotso. But Gabby Gabby is nothing like Lotso. Dear God. Lotso, one of the most popular characters and even the popular villain in the whole franchise. And he nearly kills everyone in the incinerator. Wow. That really shows that some people can be act nice on the outside, but you don't know what they're truly like in the inside of themselves. I think I should do a Toy Story characters tier list on a separate video, so then I can go through each character, every character of Toy Story, and then you all know which ones are my true favourites. The films are harder to choose, but I think the characters will be easier. We've only got 2 films now. I didn't see any of these 4. I might see Luca, but it's not like I go, wow, this could be my favourite Pixar film. I think it's just because maybe it feels a bit more generic, maybe. Maybe a good film, but not like Pixar's Up, or Monsters Inc., or Monsters University, or Ratatouille interest. Onward we have now. I seen Onward on Disney Plus months ago. I like it, but I didn't consider it as one of my favourites. Pretty much like A Bug's Life. It's a good film, but it's nothing too interesting. Maybe if it was a brother and a sister story, if I honestly can't remember the main character's name. If he had an older sister instead of an older brother, maybe I might be more interested. Yes, I do prefer female characters, and actually girls and ladies and female friends more in my personal opinion than males, because they're a lot more interesting. I might do a separate video based on why I like females more than males in general. And Soul is the last film I'm going to be talking about Pixar. Soul is one of the most interesting films I've seen probably since Monsters University. Yeah, Soul is a really good film. It's even one of my favourites. Joe Gardner, that's definitely his name, and 22, which is the other main character. There's really no proper villain in Soul, unless you want to count that guy that gone through all of the documents from A to Z, but I honestly don't know his name. I honestly can't remember. Where do I place Soul as my favourite film section? Do I like it more than Pixar's Cars? I actually do, actually. I like Soul more than the original Cars movie. Do I like it more than Ratatouille? Probably not, but I really like this film. But Ratatouille, I like it even more. And that is all of the Pixar films I've seen, and that's all of my opinions based on the ones I've seen, except for these 4. So my 4th favourite Pixar film is Cars, the original film. My 3rd favourite is Soul. My 2nd favourite is Ratatouille. And my number 1 favourite Pixar film is WALL-E, because all of the childhood memories and the special things that I've been growing up with. Thanks for watching this video based on my tier list. If you got any questions, ask me at any time on this video, or, well, like I said to you many times, the comment box is always open. I'll see you on another tier list video. Stay tuned.